what it means to have an Neshama Yisera on Shabbos. So Chazal say that, what page was this?
Page Ches.
Page?
Page Ches.
Page Ches, okay. Right. I'm talking about the fact that there's, on Shabbos is very connected to the Mishkan. Yeah, in the sense that you have, says, you build the Riyos and build the Kelim and keep Shabbos. So you have to understand what Shabbos is and why Shabbos is important. So, and I just from 174 from the column in the middle of the column. So on Shabbos, every person has an extra soul, and the question is, you don't know what that means, you don't even feel it. To explain what the extra soul is, we have to go back to understand. When a person says Shema Yisrael, b'chol levavcha, what did he say? He's saying that the way to love Hashem, the Ohavto, is by meditating and contemplating on the physical world. That you see Hashem in all the physical directions, and when you meditate on this, what happens? You'll arrive at a love of Hashem, which is what the Shvatim told their father Yaakov. So Yaakov said to them, I see something wrong with you guys. I see there's a lack of belief in Hashem. And the Shvatim tell him, no, we believe in Hashem. And we have the same echad as you do. You arrive at echad automatically. You see Hashem directly. We have a hard time finding echad, but we want you to know that just like by you, there's a belief in Hashem echad, so too by us, there's a belief in Hashem echad. Even though we're down here in this world, but through discovering Hashem, we also bring ourselves towards a revelation, which means there's four worlds. If you look at yesterday's Tanya and today, what he's describing, I hope you're following still. Are you? So, there's four worlds. Atzilus, Bria, Tzir, Asiyah. Atzilus is Reshus HaYochid. He actually has Arba Reshus, the Shabbos, the four what they call domains of Shabbos. So Reshus HaYochid is on top, Reshus HaRabim is on the bottom. That's the two he discusses here. Reshus HaYochid means Atzilus. What's a Yochid? Well, you see the Yochid, you see Hashem. If you live in Atzilus, you're in Hashem's possession. If you live in the physical world, you're in Reshus HaRabim. Right? That's Reshus HaRabim. Mazal Rabim. It's a world, right? But today's Tanya, the Rebbe says, and the goal of the world is not for you to be fazed by it, to realize that everything you're doing is bringing you towards Hashem. Every little detail of what you are is to bring you towards Hashem. Which is why I just saw in someone's profile picture, and I got to tell him, because you want to take a picture of it to send it out to show everybody, but you can't take a picture of profile. It doesn't allow you. You got to get another camera to take a picture. Anyway, but he has an answer of the Rebbe, and such a powerful answer, so beautiful. So what he says is, when a person feels, it's a 5-line answer, when a person feels stuck in life and nowhere to go and no idea how you're going to get out of the state that you're in. So he says, relax, you're in God's presence, right? And loli dog, and the same word, right? Don't worry at all. Allow yourself to realize that Hashem, that when you have bitachon in the space, you'll get out of it no problem, because Hashem put you in the space, and Hashem God wanted you in the space. It's exactly where you want to be. Then he says, and you have to make a decision. How do you make a decision? Decisions are made very simple. You look around at a few friends, people who care about you and understand the situation. You ask them what to do, and based on that, you decide what to do next. Then you know which direction to go. That's that's just a technical answer of which direction to go. But it's an absolute noticing that Hashem is in the space, because that leads you to a belief that you can do it, right? So that avoida, right? That is goy echad ba'aretz. Miki amcha Yisrael goy echad ba'aretz. We love to say Miki amcha Yisrael, right? When you see a Jew give money to a cause that doesn't have to give to, you say, wow, Miki amcha Yisrael, amazing. But the actual Miki amcha Yisrael is goy echad ba'aretz. What does it mean goy echad ba'aretz? It's a nation that declares echad when they're living in the physical world. It's the Yid who's struggling in Parnasa and or succeeding in Parnasa. And he says, wow, I still see Hashem echad. Right? So what he's doing is making the world a Shabbos-tika world. The connection to Shabbos. Okay. Last line of page 174. First column. What does it mean What does it mean to love Hashem with both your inclinations? It means sheitapech gama ratzon shel hanefesh habamis. To transform the desire of the animal soul, Hanikra, we call him a Yetzer Hara. Liyos LaHashem levade.
Nefesh Ba'amit is the Yetzer Hara, the same thing?
No, technically the Yetzer Hara is the inclination of the Nefesh Ba'amit. Nefesh Ba'amit has an intellect and desires and a whole character traits and a whole thing, you know. But in this technical sense, voila. The Yetzer Hara is the is an Nefesh Ba'amit, and you want him to be absorbed into Elokus. This is what Haman was mad at. Haman was he was just so upset with the Jews. And why? Because he says, Yeshno am echad mefuzar mefared ben am b'chol medinas malchusecha. Maz yeshno am echad. There's a nation of echad. There's these guys. No matter what you do to them, they just you can't destroy them. No matter what you tell them, they always find how that's going to connect me more to Hashem. Right? This is where I find Hashem more. So that's what it means. That's Yeshno am echad mefuzar mefared ben amim. Top of the column. Where does this come from? Intellect. We meditate. When you meditate on the greatness and the elevation of Hashem, you start noticing how nothing matters in comparison to Hashem.
We notice nothing matters, or before him nothing matters?
No, you notice. What do you mean? You're supposed to notice.
Isn't Kamayu would be us?
What?
Isn't Kamei singular?
Nothing. All the entire creation in front of Hashem is like nothing.
Oh, but for the Hashem, yeah, okay.
Yeah, but you're misleading in that.
Yeah, okay, but it's the fact that it's before him that way.
Right. The effort below, and there's nothing beside them. Then you do bitul haratzon. What's bitul haratzon? Bitul haratzon is I have a desire to be kach bekach bekach. I let go of my desires to find Hashem. This is why the posuk of Ve'ohavta follows right on the heels of Hashem Echad. If you get that Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, we say this all like a million times, then of course you'll love Hashem. You'll be yearning and desiring Hashem in every fiber of your being. So again, in today's Tanya, the whole point is that, why does Hashem make it that we need the physical world? Why did Hashem make life so hard and so difficult? Like, why don't you just make it a little bit easier? So I do think it should be made easier. But the bottom line is that the reason why Hashem does it is so that you can take the physical world with you and give it over to Hashem. Because you're not, he says, you're not davening. When you're davening, the world is davening with you. Right? The whole physicality is davening. It's not me davening. It's the whole Gashmistic world being elevated towards Hashem.
But that doesn't really answer why.
What?
It answers what he did, because he could have accomplished that through a different method, but he chose that method to accomplish that.
I mean, he could have only because I actually don't know how he could have done another way, but I do know that Hashem could have figured it out because he's unlimited, so he could have done. But what he did, I understand very much what he did. He created worlds. He regressively hid his own self till the point you go down from Atzilus all the way down to Asiyah. Created this world. You mamish don't see Hashem. It's literally like the hardest place ever, and you mamish don't see Hashem at all. And then he said he put us inside here and made us part of the world, and also gave us a part of Elokus and brought us, okay, guys, go for it. Make this world a holy place. But that makes your life so much more enticing and fun and worthwhile. Like, if you do this, otherwise, what meaning is it to life? It gives you so much meaning and reason to live.
That what?
That the things you do are holy. The places you go are holy. The people you interact with, all the things you do are holy. Every interaction you have is holy. On the most basic level, you're only able to, you're sitting here now and learning Chassidus. Why? Because you ate food and you make money somehow or another, and you do things in the world. That's why. Otherwise, you couldn't do it. Right? So what's happening is you're elevating the physical world around you. And that's what it means. Shema Yisrael, listen, Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. When you start realizing Echad, Mazeh Echad, there is nothing besides Hashem. Then you get to V'ahavta. Huh? What? You need to change? Okay. Now, Vine. No, you can't go around. No? Okay, so there's two modalities of how you work. One is when it's Shabbos. Maza Shabbos. Shabbos is no, sorry. The first modality is 6 days of the work week. One is the 6 days of the work week. What's that? That's when you go and work. Because there's a mitzvah, Sheish Yomim Ta'avod. Why is there a mitzvah, Sheish Yomim Ta'avod? Hashem gives you a mitzvah to go work. He should tell you, if you work Sheish Yomim, the seventh day, you should rest. That makes sense. No, he's saying the mitzvah to work for 6 days. It's because, the reason is, because just like you have a mitzvah to make Kiddush on Erev Shabbos, as Shabbos comes in, you have a mitzvah to make Havdalah on Motzei Shabbos.
Yeah, but it's interesting the deal that if you listen to today's Tanya of Manas Friedman, right, he makes a difference between Asiyah and Avodah. So Asiyah would be to go out and work because he's saying that's what you innately have in you already. But now you're saying 6 days Tavoid is to reach a higher potential than what you are. That's really what the tzivui is. It's a big chiddush.
Correct. Well, you're going to explain that. Let's see. So 6 days of action. Hashem says there are 6 days where you're going to go work. And what does work mean? It means bring Hashem into the physical world. How do you do it? 39 melachos of Shabbos, of doing them, right, during the work week. 6 days you should work. La'avod doesn't just mean to go make money. Avoid is avodat Hashem. The service of love of Hashem. It's not easy. Essentially, you know what the work of life is? To stay sane. To stay in a state of love and be connected to Hashem despite all. It's not possible to get to a state of love for Hashem unless you toil and work hard. In what sense? You have to work like kasher daitoi bechoizek. It's a double hitter, right? When you go out to work, so work is it's hard. Work is you have to make money and you have to put yourself out there and you have to succeed in life. You want to know what's really going on? It's fascinating how there's two parts to us. One is, are you happy in life? And one is, do you love Hashem? Love of Hashem and being happy are one and the same thing. If you want to be truly happy, the only way is to be in love with Hashem. That gets you to be in a state of love. So the avodah is lekasher da'ato bechozek, not to be deviating from the goal. The goal is to bring Hashem into the world. So even when everything falls up, the problem is that the life doesn't happen in bites. It doesn't come to you like, okay, now we're going to do this day, now this day. It just comes in the mum. Life happens as a flood. Then it's you need to work all the 39 melachas spiritually. There's a maimer, God willing, we'll do it when we get there. If you recall, in Bechukosai, right? The Bahar and Bechukosai, they have the same maimer, where he describes all the melachas. That Lizroa means to work on yourself and to plant a seed in the ground, to bring Elokus into the world. In a simple way. How do you make money? You make money by going out there. You're I don't know, you sell houses and you're a broker. So how do you make houses? How do you do it? You go out there and you get leads. So you call people up and you get leads and you talk to this guy and that guy and that guy, and you let people know what you do and you build friendships and you go out to networking events and you connect and whatever. And then what happens? All that's elokus, pure godliness. Why? Because you're planting seeds in the ground and the goal is that the seeds sprout forth and bring about, what's it called? Right?
Yeah.
Fruits. So if you look at it, it's just me finding Hashem. Okay. So now we've spoken about the avodah of the work week. Avodah Shabbos. What is Shabbos? Shabbos is different. Now we're going to learn what this extra soul is. What is the extra soul? Every Jew has something brand new which he never had on the regular weekday. What is that? So this extra soul is like very abstract, esoteric. What does it mean? That you have an extra soul, not an extra soul. What it means is it's a love and a desire to Hashem. Which is above intellect. One second. Yeah, 1 second.
But may I ask a question though? It's a new soul, or it's a hischadshus in your nefesh elokis?
It's something brand new that takes place it's a surge of connection to God. It's a whole different world of what happens. It's an ava v'rotzim that a person gets to Hashem. It's an elevation of the soul which you get in the state.
Okay, but it's the elevation of the existing soul, not a new
correct.
soul, right? Okay, because otherwise you say if in the beginning of time you would say that we all have shtein nefashos with the exclusion of Shabbos, you have to add a third. You're not saying that.
No, can you explain it?
Okay.
Essentially, if you don't understand this, you don't know how to keep Shabbos. Because the neshama Yisrael on Shabbos, what is the neshama Yisrael? It says to eat better. Like what on earth? Like you give me a soul to be able to eat better? You have better challenge? What does it mean? So the pshat is that the neshama Yisrael is an ava v'rotzen, a brand new desire for Hashem. Pirush, that means east rotzen, the east rotzen. There's two types of rotzen. So first of all, it's a rotten that comes above seichel v'isboinut, above intellect. Because you have desire, two types of desire. You could want something, why? Because it makes sense. I want it because I understand that it's better. So if I learn about something, why it's a good idea, then I want it. There's a rotzen that comes from, I understood why something is good, therefore I want it. It's born from them, right? It comes from them. That's one type of seichel. You have a rotzen which is above the chokhmah. There's a love which has nothing to do with the intellect. So
the father to a son.
Right, correct. Correct. It's a core love. Essentially, it means imagine a father and a son are estranged from each other, alienated for 20 years.
Yeah.
So how did that father and son get reconnected? The answer is nothing. All you need to do is just rediscover that which you had before already. A father and a son are absolutely in love with each other. So when they get alienated, it's going to be very hard to get to that love, to get back to it. But it's there, it's present all the time. And all you're going to do is get rid of all their layers and you'll discover it right there. That's what a Jew is with Hashem. Right? So you could have a desire that comes from seichel. You could have a rotten that's way above it. Right? How do a father and son get there? They need to focus on, okay, all these things are terrible or whatever, but what is it that binds us to each other? When a person has a desire for something which touches the core of his soul, it causes them to do things which make absolutely no rhyme or reason, no sense. This desire is deep, deep, deep down in the seichel. So you'll see it very clearly, right? When you discover that you mamish, that you're about to lose your business, or a guy, I remember a case of a couple got married and they took till they were remarried, or the second marriage years ago, I remember I was here in Shul, probably about, I don't know, more than a decade ago. Just an intense moment. I came in here one day, I saw the guy over here late at night. He was crying. And he was crying. I asked why. He said because they got remarried and he thought it was going to work and it was working for the first year. And he said she's a disaster and she was killing him, destroying him. So he made up his mind of getting divorced, nothing to stop him. What happened was he went back home. He described to me the scene afterwards, went back home. And when she realized that he meant business, it was an intense moment. I'm not sure everyone would have succeeded in doing that. She stood by the door and she locked him in the room, which sounded like abuse, but no, it wasn't. And she said to him, I will do everything, whatever you want, whatever you do, I will never, she stood by as like, just like fighting for her, for her being. And they still married all those years later. He was getting divorced. He was out. He was packing his bag.
Did she open the door?
She said, if you promise me you're not getting divorced, I'm opening the door. She locked herself with him in the room. And I spoke to her afterwards. She said, she was describing the scene. There's no way of letting this go. I wasn't letting my marriage go. And the people do things that are crazy, really, really crazy. If you haven't done anything crazy through life, you haven't lived there has to be this absolute craze. And the connection to Hashem lies at that craze. There's a rotzen above seichel. Like you say, this is what I want. It was used against us, right? When Rabbi Akiva was being killed. So the Malachim said, what? Zut Torah v'zut charos. Hashem says, shtok, kach alav machshav. Kodesh. There's no reason for it. Hashem said, I can't explain to you.
From the perspective of a nivra. From the perspective of a nivra, you can't explain.
Yeah. That is Shabbos. This love and desire for Hashem is what's revealed on the day of Shabbos. Now, if you haven't felt it, that's what we're going to learn. We're going to learn this to know what it is. But every Jew has this. It says, Amoritz ain't a mishaker b'Shabbos. Amoritz doesn't lie on Shabbos. That's why Demai, whatever, all the halachas over there, Amoritz won't lie on Shabbos. But he will, right? At his core, an Amoritz won't lie on Shabbos. Shabbos is something unique about it. What's revealed on Shabbos? So again, there's two desires for Hashem. One desire is a love and a desire that comes from understanding Hashem. But during the week, you do Avas Hashem that comes from Avodah. You meditate Hashem again, Hashem Echad, and then you arrive at a love for Hashem.
You're also tapping into, in a sense, the difference between the Mala and Seiv.
Of what?
You're tapping into the difference between Mamala and Seiv also. Because Mamala, there's a reason. It's what you associate with, what you could understand.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It might even be higher than Seiv. But yeah, because they both Ratzah. But the point is, there's a Ratzah that comes from his Boinenus, from the Seichel, and there's a Ratzah that leads to this Boinenus. So every Jew discovers his true being on Shabbos. That's what we get to. The godly soul gets the spark of revelation on Shabbos. The love is not commensurate with how much you understood. It comes from the Rotzen, which is above the Chochmah. Yeah. In the parentheses, it says, the Priyatz Chaim, as Arizal says, saying Shema on Shabbos is a different Shema to saying it during the week. The Shema you say on Shabbos during the week, what is it? I'm going to meditate on Hashem Echad to discover the love I have. And that's important to do that for 6 days. But on Shabbos, the love is, I see Hashem Echad, I meditate on Hashem Echad, and the love is automatic. It's right there in front of me. Shebechinas Gilui Rotzen HaElyon, Hu b'Shabbos Davko. The revelation of Hashem's Rotzen is only Shabbos, every Shabbos. Din Eksiv, it says in Yechezkel, there's the gate of the Chotzer HaPnimis, the internal gate, which is easterly facing. So, and it says it's closed up all the time and never opened except on Shabbos. Every week they open up when? On Shabbos. Why? Because there's a Sha'ar Chotzer, there's a portal by a Jew and a connection to Hashem that only gets opened up once a week on Shabbos. The world's created with 10 sayings. B'Sheishes Yemei Bereshis. Ubereshis Yichachma Ilo Nami Ma'imr Hu B'Nish Chachma Ilo B'Midas Lizdam Shuknas Adim B'Lema Yior. There's 10 sayings. One of the 10, there's actually only 9. One of the 10 is Bereshis Bara Kenos Ma'imr Saras. That's also a saying. Hashem said, "Let there be heavens and earth." All that comes about through Hashem's speech. He speaks the world into existence, right? So, the analogy will be if you're writing something down. So there's a project that you're doing. It's a project of writing or painting. What's it called? Vov Yemei Bereshis. The 6 days of creation. Hashem is working on a project. The project is called the world. Every single week, you do the same thing. You work on a project. The project is called whatever you're working on. Most people think, how do you get to a completion of a project when you complete the project? Judaism teaches a brand new thing. You know when you complete the project, what happens? You built a home, what happens? You're like, what was the point of that? When you planned your Pesach trip, you go on the Pesach trip, what are people talking about? Where are you for next Pesach? Like, you can never actually get to the actual tachlis. The only way to get to the tachlis is if it's finished product is every 6 days. The 7th day is always a finished product. So you can look back at whatever was done over the last 6 days and realize that is the finished product. So, lechach vov yimei bereishis shemekablim mechinas reishis yachachma ilo. Reishis is chachma. The pasuk says reishis chachma yirat Hashem. So reishis is chachma. So what does that mean? Hashem creates the world using His chachma. All week long, what are you doing? You're working the week. You're working Hashem into the world. So during the week, it goes like this. Are you allowed to have, let's take a simple example. Are you allowed to have bitachon on a regular Thursday? Today's Thursday. Can you have bitachon today?
Also, no.
You're supposed to have bitachon and do what? And go work. Why are you working? Because the work is activation of bitachon. The guy says, I want to daven all day today. I want to sit and learn all day. I don't want to go out and work. What are we going to tell him? No, you go out and work.
Yeah,
why?
only when Shabbos sounds able to, is because he knows he worked all week.
Correct. Shabbos is Mishatorah Be'erev Shabbos Yechol B'Shabbos. Correct. You need 2 modalities. I mean, you need a modality of going out and doing the work, and you need to have a modality of being back home and receiving the results of the work. Right. So the work week is bitachon applied, meaning you got to go out and work and do things. What happened on Shabbos? And he rested. You have to rest on Shabbos. He finished the work, but the melacha was completed, and the midas go up to the rotzen, the tainug, the desire of Hashem. You got to feel the desire. Now, that's how you keep Shabbos. Remember the Maimon in Pinchas where he says, he talks about how to daven the Chunarananu. Says that the tefillah that the Arizal and the Shem Alkovich and all those initiated is called the Chunarananu. Right? It's an ushering in of Shabbos. How do you usher in Shabbos?
Just like this week, it's Kabbalat the Kutchabrich from the Shechina or one of the other, the Shechina from the Kutchabrich.
It's Rosa Be'echad. It's the way you Makabel Shabbos is by saying all week long, Bereshit bara Elokim et Hashemayim v'et haaretz. All week long, it's Shem Elokim. Shabbos is Vayichal Elokim. There's no more Elokim. What do we do? L'chun eranano le'yud ki vavke. Norahu ki gadol Hashem, norahu al kol Elokim. What does that mean? Hashem, Yud ki vavke is great, much greater, awesome, above Elokim. Elokim is the name of Hashem as he's enclosed in nature. Yud ki vavke is Hashem as he's above nature. Right? What you're saying is, I'm a supernatural person. My whole being is supernatural. That's Yud Kei Vav Kei. I mean, way above Elokim, right? So how do you keep Shabbos? Keep Shabbos, when Shabbos comes in, you look at the world and you say, okay, I don't have to do anything. I have to let go and allow Hashem to be doing the work through me. That's how you keep Shabbos. So the Bechilta says, Kol melachtecha asuya. If you walk into Shabbos and you're still feeling there's something you're going to do, every davening you're going to do this, by the way. Every tefillah is a many Shabbos. But afterwards, you got to go do it. You got to go feel it. Shabbos is the whole avodah of Shabbos is to walk into a day and to feel protected and all your work is done and accomplished as if you built the house already. That's what it means, vayinofash. That's what it means. Very beautiful. See, Pesach says how to keep Shabbos. There's a shar rechatzer pnimit aponeh kadim. A shar yesagur. The shar is remain locked. Doesn't mean locked. You can't access this gate. What's the gate? The gate is that you don't need to do anything. Hashem is protecting you. So poneh kadim. What's kadim? Kadim is kadmono shel olam. It looks at Hashem. Shelemala me'achochma nikar kedem lemala me'bechinas reishis. That's above reishis, above chochma. Ki areshit yesh lo sheni lo. If I say reishis, number one, there's number two. Mashenken kadmoina shel olam. When I say Hashem is kadmoina shel olam, there's no number two. So I have to get to a state where I realize Hashem is totally in control and there's nothing besides Hashem. That's how you keep Shabbos. Hashem knows what's happening from beginning to the end. What's the shar? The shar is the neshama yisera. That is the extra soul. It's the revelation of Hashem's ratzon and tainug. Because Hashem finished and vayinofash. You know what it is? I was thinking about your life could be, you could decide your life's miserable, right? But then one day, you ever have this, like, you think life's terrible, and then you discover that people like you in the same position, that the guy you thought was successful is himself suffering. Then you come to realize that you're actually doing very well, right? Like you thought you were. This guy showed in the Kinnis HaShluchim, a guy came in a few months ago. He came in with there was a session over there of a closed session, no videotaping it. The session is mental health issues of the Shluchim. It's a huge packed session. There's like a couple hundred guys there. And they talk mental health for a few hours, whole day. So a guy said that Rabbi Jacobs of Scotland, he became with a letter. I don't remember the text of the whole letter, but this is the Nakuda. He wrote to the Rebbe 40 years ago, 30 years ago. He was in Scotland and nothing's working. Everything's messed up. He's not succeeding in anything. And it's just ridiculous. And there's no point. So the Rebbe wrote him back. He said, he restructured his whole thing. He said, you have a family and you were zoichet to have children. And you were zoichet, he went through all the things that he has. And would you just assume that you take that for granted? Right? As if it's nothing. All those things take for granted? No, don't take it for granted, right? That's not, if you stop, yes, this, I have that, I have that, I have that, I have. No, but I want this and this and this. Because you're assuming you deserve that. The moment you look into the space of what you have, you'll see how different it is. That's how you keep Shabbos. Shabbos is not, the work week is what's missing in my avodah Hashem. Shabbos is, but where am I holding? You're allowed to feel good, basically, essentially, about in good and godly about what you're doing. That's vayinofash, right? To feel the power of it.
Why does he say that? I'm just curious. He says, "Ki reishis yesheni loy."
Reishis yesheni loy, meaning reishis is the work of the avodah. The reishis loyal gives my desires. There's things to do. Hashem is, you have betachan in Hashem, and you got to go do things. It's sheni. Mashenken on Shabbos, you don't do anything.
Yeah, but I'm saying with the diet that you make it in that pasuk is that reishis doesn't mean. Rashi says. And unlike
when you're contrasting it with Shabbos. When you're contrasting it with the work week, you're right. Reish is part of the work week is right, but Reish is contrasted with Shabbos. Right? Different. You saw there was the group of ladies who were once they went to the Sheikh Chabad convention. There was a video about it recently, and then on they were stuck. They got stuck in what's it called? In Detroit, in a snowstorm. So like 150 ladies are stuck there. So they wrote a letter to the Rebbe, but they're stuck in Detroit. You know what the answer was? They're before Shabbos. They're stuck in Detroit for Shabbos because of the snowstorm. They're all upset. They're all angry because they can't get back to the family, and you know, and they're all upset. What was the answer?
It's for a reason you're there.
The Rebbe circled the word "stuck." Put a question mark on it. The Jew is never stuck. You were sent by Hashem to Detroit for Shabbos.
Yeah.
And once you look at it that way, you're like, oh. And that's a different experience, right, of what's going on in your life. You're not stuck. So, so he says that's Vainofash. Mashenken, the 6 days of creation, what should you do? Kedem is the Kadmoin Shel Olam. You don't need to do anything. The Chachma, you need to do the work. You can't expect a person to be thinking the whole time about what am I accomplishing. You gotta do the work. You can't think, am I not to achieve it? Whatever. Once a week, you pause and look back and say, wow. So Shabbos is looking back at accomplishments. The 6 days of the work, you go do the work. The Satmar Rebbe's word. The way to have bitochen is 5 to 9 to do Avodas Hashem, and 9 to 5 go work. Hashem is revealed to you. Your love is greater to me than wine. Hashem says, I enjoy the beauty of Divrei Seifrim, Yesem, and Divrei Torah. What he means is when a Jew does not avoid in this world, it's very dear to Hashem. So very excited by it. So,
how do you get that? I thought that's talking about Durabbanans. How do you get that into mitzvahs?
Pastor is talking about the fact that a Jew has to avoid himself. There's what the work Hashem does and the work you do. So it's very exciting, right? That you get to do work. I mean, essentially, he's saying doing work is a holy endeavor. It is. It's bringing Hashem into the world. That's how you make Havdalah. Now, but what's Shabbos? Shabbos is I don't need to do any work. Hashem is running my life. Hashem is in control. Hashem is everything. I'm excited of being attached with Hashem. This is the diuk over here now. You're going to see all this now. Klinsha of the whole Maimer, of the whole piece about Shabbos. How you see this in the davening, in the Kiddush. In the parentheses, it says, "V'zeh she'omrim b'kiddush b'Shabbat v'ratza banu." And no one knows how to translate that. Right? How's Kiddush go? Asher Kishanim b'zeh v'ratza banu. The Shabbat goes about Chalton, right? V'ratza banu, translate in English.
It should be Aisanu. It should be Aisanu.
One teras, איך אומרים בעברית one teras? רצה אותנו. רצה בנו, translated. Wanted in us. Wanted in us? You can't even say it.
He created Ratzon in us. It was
what?
He was Baina Ratzon in us. It was Baina Ratzon.
No, that's a different word.
You said about Baina? Oh.
Hey, don't Ratzon. How are you using?
Well, you can go much simpler. Ratzah Banu means, I mean, he put his desire in us. Not that he wanted us. He wanted us means I'm a recipient of Hashem's desire. V'ratzah Banu. He put his ratzon inside of us. Al shem itgalut ratzon ha'elyon banu mamash.
It sounds like, though, going back to what Eli said before, this is not a Yisera. This is just... it's not Yisera. This is just an increase. It's almost like dial-up versus Wi-Fi.
It's an
upgrade. You have a connection, right? It's an upgrade. You have a faster connection.
I mean, a better example, by the way. It's like using.
It's not like you have a third neshama.
Gemini, but ChatGPT.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm old school. Me, dial-up versus DSL. How's that? But if you have a gigabyte connection versus a dial-up connection. Now you're plugged in. Is it really that's what it is, or is it like a third neshama comes down to you?
Oh, I think it's very deep. in the sense that it's always there, the neshama. It's not a third soul. In Tanya he says you have two souls, right? So it's not another nefesh. You have a nefesh elikis and another nefesh elikis. It's an extension, like a Google Chrome extension kind of thing. It's an extension of the soul. Yes. And that's the Ratzaban.
It's a depth to the soul.
Yeah.
The depth. Yeah, deep in your soul. You're bringing that out.
And the thing is that Hashem says, if you don't keep Shabbos, so then you're not going to experience Shabbos. You have to actually keep Shabbos. How do you keep it? You learn what we learned now, and then you do the avodah of Shabbos. If you don't keep Shabbos, you know what it says. If you don't keep Shabbos, what's the punishment of not keeping Shabbos? Skila. Yeah. So, but today people will argue. Many people don't keep Shabbos and don't get skila, right? But you do get skila if you don't keep Shabbos. What's a skila? Skila is, remember the mimer in the Aseret Mitzvah mimer, where he says skila is where you get a stone thrown on your heart. Skila is where your heart becomes like stone, so you become completely like immune, and you go into a state of apathy and deep disconnect. What? Yeah, all that. Yes. If you don't keep Shabbos, that's what's going to happen to you. You're going to crash. It's exactly what's going to happen. You want to not crash? It's a consequence. Keep Shabbos. Mazal, how do you keep Shabbos? You walk into a zone of Shabbos, right? Which is make God real to you. So on Shabbos, the Neshama Yisrael is there, meaning you get V'ratzabanu. V'ratzon Hashem is inside of us, and you feel that you don't need to do any work. Hashem is taking care of you. Hashem is protecting. Hashem is doing everything. What you want to do is actually keep the Shabbos and feel that in your life. It's I think it's crystal clear what needs to be done. Everyone gets it over here, but it's very uplifting. It means, wow, now I know what an Neshama Yisrael is, and now I know it's not something, it's actually something real. I know what to do about it. You get it?
What's the Ratzon?
The Ratzon Elyon is the desire of Hashem. See, Penny, like now, the train around you, when you're traveling, the whole train, the whole purpose of the train is that the Amayim Chassidus should be learned in it. So now the Elokus is traveling throughout the train ride, and you never know what's going on right over there. Sorry, what do you say?
What's the Ratzon? What's the Ratzon is third neshama, whatever, let's say, the part increasing.
Not an increase neshama. It means Hashem's desire. Hashem has a desire built into a Jew. The desire is a revelation of godliness, that Hashem is taking care of everything. That the Ratzon Elyon shel Mala Me'asechel. Yav Ratzon, which is built on the Seichel. I learn about Hashem, I understand Him, and I give. Then there's the child who was alienated, like we are, often alienated from Hashem, and then you look back and you say, no, Hashem loves me. So it's about internalizing this experience of absolute divine revelation between me and God, right? So how do you keep Shabbos? You say L'chol Nirada, you daven it, and you have to, okay, I don't need to do any work. Hashem is protecting me. Hashem is right here, and ask yourself what's bothering you right now, and let it go into the Shabbos, right?
It's very difficult, this avodah, what we're talking about. This is very, very difficult because, when you have a project, you have to have Seif Ma'aser V'Mashava Tchila, whatever you want to call it. You have to have your end goal in mind. When you want to build a house, you have to have the end of the house. You can't, every week, I'm done with my job, I did my week. No, it's on your head. You have the job to do. You still have the house to finish, using the rabbi's example from before. But you want us to go into Shabbos, like we finish everything we're supposed to do. At the same time, when you're doing the middle of the week to work, it's asking us to look at every minute of optimizing it for Hashem, etc. It's not about completing the project. It's about maximizing what you're supposed to do. But to maximize what you're supposed to do, you have to keep your eye on the prize, which is ending the project. So you have it's very complicated. I don't know if that makes sense. I'm reflecting on what the rabbi was learning.
Think about it. But think about it.
How do you close down a Shabbos? You just close down? I have a million things going on.
But I'm asking a question. There are no finish lines in the world.
I know that at that level, but you can't live like that in the details. You just can't. It doesn't work. When you're in the details, you have to be in the details, if that makes sense. When you're in the forest, you have to look at trees. You can't just see forests. You have to go through the trees. That's just the way it is. But you can't I don't know. I'm struggling as I'm listening to this because I've heard this before in terms of Shabbos. I don't know how I turn off for Shabbos. My brain is like, it just.
I don't think it's one thing. I don't think it's turn off. That's what the mistake is. It's not turning off, it's turning on.
Yeah, you're
It's
putting your mind in a
shah,
different place.
What?
You make a hachon and you put your mind in a different place. Rahman al-San, if you have something really that's bothering you, so you try to deflect that thought by substituting it with something positive. During the week, you're centered around the asiyah of the week. Shabbos, you should have to twist your to focus on something else. So you learn a mimer, so you do what you have to do for achana to do it. It's not easy, but it's very doable.
Yeah, but I think there's an actual avoid over here. The
But
avoid
that's what we're doing now. That's what we're doing now, technically.
Right.
It's exactly what we're doing.
But do it right before
you know,
Shabbos. Do it when you wake up Shabbos morning. Do it right before Mincha Erev Shabbos. Do it when you wake up Shabbos morning. That puts your mind, you take it away from what you're thinking during the week, and you put yourself in a different zone. It's not complicated. You have to will yourself to do it. That's all. It's not complicated.
Right. I just want to, but just it's not turning your mind off. It's turning it to a state of Hashem is taking care of this. If I have a problem with my kid, right? I have a problem with my kid. I have a problem with my business or whatever. So I think one of the biggest issues is it makes me feel inadequate. It makes me feel right that I'm not worthy, and that's what the problem is. And it's like, no, you're adequate even without this.
But you can say, what if you feel adequate the whole week?
No.
What?
What if you feel adequate the whole week?
What if it's not adequate? It's just a matter of frustrated because you're trying to find a solution and you keep stressing yourself trying to solve the problem. So until you solve it, it just sits in your mind and plays, at least for me, I sit there and I turn it, whether I can do anything or not. I don't know how to let it go necessarily. I don't know if that, to me, it's more like if there's something unresolved, I have to figure out how to resolve it. That's my job, or whether it's my kid, whether it's my business. So to me, that's what it is. It's not like,
I'll give you a simple technique.
Thinking about it.
Penny, I'll give you a simple technique. At the end of the day, instead of what you're trying to do is trying to solve it on the outside. So that's Sheish Yom Tavoid, which is during the week. You're trying to say, I need to do this, so this should happen, that should happen, that should happen, I need to do this. So you have 400 different things going on. If you want to keep Shabbos, all those 400 different things are probably 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 things by you. It's a feeling of incompletion, a feeling of inadequacy, a feeling of sadness, a feeling of whatever it is. If you narrow it down to what does it make you feel right now, then you have one thing to work on, and then you say, okay, that's what I feel, and allow Hashem to take over that feeling. If you have a million different things, it's impossible to do it. Narrow it down to what's the core. What am I feeling right now? Then you have something crystal clear to give over to Hashem, right? As an animal to actually give over to Hashem. That to me is the game changer.
I just say the Rebbe has a beautiful sikha this week and Te'aseh Malacha. Instead of usually we say Sheish Yom Tavoid, he says Te'aseh is like a passive term. If you work all week in a little bit more passive way, and we realize it's not koichi v'otzim yadi, we do our work, but then we try to step back a little bit. Yes. Then it's easier to go into, like you were saying, Pinchas, it's easier to get into the mode of, okay, now I can relax. I really give over the reins. But if you think you have the reins the whole week, it's much harder to let go. It's impossible, actually, he says. It's a beautiful, I think it was in Chayenu or Daily Wisdom, one of those. It's really worth it.
But he says, not Shesham Tatem Elocha, Shesham Teatem Elocha. That's the beginning of the parasha. 6 days, not do work. 6 days, work shall be done.
I like what you said before, though. When you're having mind, it's just like it's a retreat with Kadosh Baruch Hu. You're having a retreat with him now, so your mindset is just different. You put yourself in a place where it's just like it's an opportunity. It's like now it's like you have your weekend with your kids, right? It's a special thing. So this is your weekend with Kadosh Baruch Hu. That by having that in mind, that kind of eases that whole feeling.
And the place to think about it is during Kiddush when you say V'ratza otanu no banu. His desire in us. Oh, he actually is. Him and me are one. But meditating on that changes you. What a powerful name. Yom Tov lekulam. Make the Thursday holy.
I just ask one quick thing.
Yeah.
I didn't understand the answer before when I asked you about the different ratios. Well, the types of the word is still the types of the word.
You had a good thing. You had a good, what's it called?
Then what? Then it means that it means
Rashi says that rachis. There's a difference between Rishonim and rachis, right?
Right.
So the rachis means 1, 2, 3. I'm sorry, Rishonim means there's 1, there's 2, and Alter over here is saying that rachis means 1, therefore there's 2. So, and I'm just saying Rashi and Alter seem to be saying the two different things. I mean, it's not a question of right or wrong.
Rashi saying what?
Rashi says that the word rachis doesn't need the first, second, third. He says if it would have meant that, it would have said Rishonim. That's what Rishonim means. So the first Rashi, right? So rachis means according to Rashi, that it's like it's not what happened first, but it's the opening scene of Bria that you're opening yourself. Right. The status at that moment was Va'aretz Ha'isasai V'Vayim. It's not that something was created first or second.
Right. And now they're saying the rachis means that there's the second one.
Yeah. So he's saying that
the rachis b'yachas to the word Rishona is one thing, but rachis b'yachas to the word yochid. You know what I mean? Depends. And always in Chassidus, that's how you answer the question. Depends what you talk about. Depends which darga we're on. The guy this level, it's that. The guy this level, it's that. In other words, what is rachis? It's the beginning of the next thing we're talking about, right? So it depends depends what you're comparing it to.
Okay, it's okay. I don't.
I'll tell you afterwards. Okay.
Okay. Very good. Have a good day.